One of the biggest issues for new day traders is something that's so simple. It's something that anybody can fix, right? Anybody can stop doing. But will they? As a new day trader, the biggest problem for traders is the fact that they are obsessed with being right. They are obsessed with not losing. But what if I told you that sometimes losing is winning? I know. Let me get a sip here. Let's talk about it. Why do most day traders have a problem with cutting off losers? Because I think there's a stigma. There's a stigma in the world, or maybe in the trading world, that if you have a losing trade, that you're losing, right? You're a loser. You're an idiot. Well, what if I told you that losing is as much a part of winning as well, if you want to make money day trading, you got to lose, and you're going to lose consistently sometimes. You're going to lose, day in on day out sometimes. You're going to cut off losers, and you're going to feel like you lost. But what if we rewire this idea? What if we try to change the theory or the reward system, the belief that losing is bad? What if losing is actually good? What if you lost more? What if you cut off your losers sooner? What if you got out of trades sooner? Would your P&L look different at the end of the month? A lot of new day traders, they do make money. They do get lucky. There are opportunities to make money, right? They get in, they get out. But the problem is most of them will give back their profits very quickly or very easily. Because why? Because they hold, they pray, they are just hoping that the market goes back to where they originally entered at. And this whole stigma, I think, really comes just like from the belief that you're going to be right? You're going to make money consistently, that you're going to get into a trade, it's going to go right to your profit target, and you're going to be like ding, 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 money, money, money. But the truth is, there's a lot more trades that you're going to have to cut off, right? Even if you're sitting at a 60% win rate, a 70% win rate, you still have to cut off losers. So what if we start to like give a round of applause? What if we start to like celebrate the idea of losing? What if we start to celebrate the idea of like, hey, instead of holding a losing trade like I normally would, what if I get out early? What if I get out where my stop loss is? What if I get out for only a 10-point loss instead of a 300-point loss or a 30-point loss? Like, what if I do that? What happens? Well, my P&L is going to look a lot better at the end of the month. And I've done that too, right? I've had days where I had a big red day and it washed away way too many green days. So, if I look back at like those big profit days, if I look back at those days where I end up getting cut off or blowing up my account or whatever it is, like those single days where I was greedy, where I was forcing the trade, where I didn't cut off my trade, those are the days I look back on. And I'm like, man, if I would have just cut off that trade early, like if I would have just got out where my defined stop loss was, if I would have gotten out there, I would be looking really good, right? I'd be happy. I'd be green on the day. We had this happen on Friday with Greg, where Greg was in a trade and he could have gotten out for a small loss, but he got greedy. He held on to it. That big loss turned into something that he had to then climb out of at the end of the day. He had to battle back because he was greedy. And how many times are you in a trade and you, instead of taking profit, you get greedy, you hold, it pulls back, it stops you out for a break even or even a loss? Like, how many times does that happen? That's another no-no. Like, we can't be allowing that to happen. If you're in a trade and you're up big, you got to get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm up 40 points, I'm up 30 points, whatever it is. I'm going to move my stop loss. So at least I'm going to get cut off for like a 10-point winner, right? Because at least, hey, I got to make something on this trade. And really trying to focus on the fact of, if I'm in a trade and it's not working out, right? Let's say I got long because I thought we were going to break through the VWAP and go higher, and now the VWAP is no longer holding as support. We're down 20 points, and I'm looking at it like, okay, we're down 20 points. Maybe I can get out. I can get out right here and not get greedy, not be a retard, not try to fight the trend, whatever it is that you're doing. What if I just get out of the trade? I take a breath, I take a moment to relax and think about it. And then I say, okay, I'm going to re-enter another trade, right? I'm going to look for another opportunity. I'm going to try to make some more money, vice versa. So that's the real switch that you need to flip. As a new day trader, you have to get rid of this idea that cutting off a losing trade is bad. If I have $5,000 profit, if I'm up $5,000, and I take a trade, and now I'm down $500. Like, let's say, you know, I'm up 5,000, and then the next trade I'm down 500, and so I'm told my total profit is $4,500. If I don't cut off that $500 loser and it goes down another $500, now I'm down 1,000. What am I truly doing? Like, what am I really doing? It's not that I'm losing, it's that I'm losing. I'm not winning, right? If I can get out for a $500 loss, if I can get out for my prescribed stop loss or my prescribed, you know, target, whatever it is, if I can get out for that target, whatever that stop loss is, if I can get out, well, I'm actually winning. Oh my, wow. So you're telling me that if I stop my trade, if I get out at the right time, I take profit, I'm actually winning? Like, that's a crazy idea, right? That'll blow your mind. But it's true, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many losing trades I have. It doesn't matter how many times I got stopped out or whatever it is. That doesn't matter. What matters is, am I green at the end of the day? If I have $1,000 profit on my first trade of the day, and then I have 3 losing trades and I risk $250 for each trade, and I'm only up $250 on the day green, all right, well, hey, you know, I followed my plan. The trades didn't work out. The market maybe just wasn't giving us the setups that we wanted. And I got to be okay with that, because again, right, I'm losing is actually winning. As a day trader, it's not about being losing. I keep saying losing, but it's not so much about like, hey, I lost that trade. It's the idea that like, hey, I got stopped out, right? I got stopped out, and I was able to manage my equity. I was able to manage my profit on the day. I'm able to cut off a losing trade, refocus, look for the next opportunity. What am I doing wrong? Am I fighting the trend? Is the market chopping? Am I trying to buy a breakout while the market's stuck? You know, what is it? I need to identify what is going on and then look for another opportunity to make some money. But the worst thing that I can do is, if I'm up $1,000 on the day, the very next trade, I let it go and I just keep holding and hoping and praying. And before you know it, I went from being up on the day to being red on the day. And trust me, I speak from experience. When I make these videos, I'm actually speaking from experience. These are things that I've battled and things that I've been through. So I'm sharing this with you guys because I think as a new day trader, that was one of my biggest issues, right? Like, I was so focused on winning that when I was in a losing trade, I couldn't cut it off, right? I just was like a deer in headlights. I was literally like a deer in freaking headlights at that point, because I'm looking at it like, what? I don't want to go, you know, like, you're just sitting there hoping and praying and praying and hoping. And what happens? You end up losing big because, well, you're not focused. You're not sitting there actually trading. You're just hoping and you're praying. Remember, if it was just simply winning, like if all we did was win, right? It would just be called, you know, winning. It wouldn't be called trading. As a day trader, we are trading the risk. We are looking for an opportunity to be like, hey, I'm going to risk $100 to possibly make $200. If I can do that consistently over and over and over, well, maybe I can make some money, right? Like, maybe I can make some money by doing that. I know it's crazy, but that's really what day trading is all about. It's about managing our expectations, managing our losses. I think managing your losses is really like the biggest focus. If I'm in a trade and I think it's going to go up, 200 points or whatever it is, like, I have to be realistic. I have to manage that. I have to be like, okay, like, I'm managing, like, what if it's going to go up 200 points, what am I willing to risk? If I'm looking for a 30-point winner, I'm not going to risk 100 points, right? If I'm looking for a 20-point move up, I'm not going to risk 500 points or 50 points. I've got to kind of like go into every trade like, okay, this is my reward. This is my risk. This is where I'm very, very okay getting out of the trade. If I'm okay, if I accept the idea that, like, hey, if I enter a trade and I have a 10-point loss, stop loss, or whatever my stop is, if I have that before I go into the trade, well, mentally, emotionally, I'm going to be okay cutting it off, because I'm like, hey, I gotta focus, right? I gotta get out of this trade. It's not working out. I want to minimize my loss. If I've got $10,000 in my account, the last thing I want to do is let that $10,000 turn into 1,000 because I was too stubborn. I was too focused on not losing. I was hoping, I was praying. There are so many times where the writing is on the wall, right? We're looking at the chart and we're like, damn, this ain't looking good, right? The same way that we're looking for opportunity to like get long or get short based on the candlesticks moving and giving us setups, that same thing that we're looking at, like if we're looking for a breakout to the upside and then we get long and it goes straight up, but then it comes straight back down and gets denied, it's like a failed breakout. Well, if we identify that, if we can say like, oh shit, it's a failed bull flag, it's a failed bear flag. Like if I see that, I'm like, okay, now I need to go into defense mode. What can I do to protect my profits? What can I do here? If I'm looking at the trade, I'm like, okay, you know, I might move my stop up. I'm going to move my stop up. I'm going to get stopped out, and then I'll look for another setup. I need to go into defense mode. I think a lot of people just try to trade purely on the idea of offense. Like, what can I do, you know, to make a bunch of money? But they don't think about like, hey, what can I do to not lose a bunch of money? So again, you know, like how do we rewire our brains to go from this theory that a losing trade is a bad thing, right? If I cut off my loser, that's bad, right? Oh, wow. You know, I got out early. That's bad. Oh, I took profit. Oh, it went higher. Oh, that's bad. No. It's like at the end of the day, are you making money? Are you not making money? Are you green? Are you red? Let's focus on that. Let's focus on the idea. Like, am I executing my plan? Am I executing my trades? What am I doing? What do I need to do to be profitable? I have to cut off my losers. I have to manage my expectations. I have to be realistic. I have to take profit and do that over and over every single day. I can't show up one day and have a totally different idea. Like if my idea of trading is I'm going for 100 points, I can't show up the next day and be like, okay, I'm gonna go for 1,000 points or, you know, whatever it is. I have to be very like methodical in my process. I have to be methodical in the sense of like, hey, I'm okay taking a loser. I'm okay with that. If I say it enough, right? If I truly say it enough, well, maybe I can rewire my brain. I got to get away from this idea that like losing is losing. And I got to get to the point where I'm like, hey, losing is actually winning, right? If I can lose gracefully, if I can lose gracefully, if I can lose at the right time, you know, if I can get out of the trade, cut off my losing trade and manage my risk, if I can do that consistently, well, guess what? I'm probably going to be green more than often, green more than not, because I'm cutting off my losers. If you're struggling, if you're blowing up your account because you let your losers just keep going and going, well, try to maybe cut them off. Just try it. What's the worst that could happen, right? What's the worst that could happen? I don't know. You end up green. You end up cutting off a loser. You end up protecting your profits. You end up just emotionally and mentally also being able to handle that. And that's the thing too. Like if you cut off your losers, if you follow the plan, you might not always be green at the end of the day, which is totally fine. But I guarantee your emotion, your mental is going to be in a much better place. If you're going through this emotional roller coaster where every single trade, it's like up, it's down, I know on the live stream, maybe I act, you know, a little bit more emotional. You know, I'm a little bit more animated because I'm live on YouTube. But the whole thing is green trade, red trade, it don't really matter. All I know is like I've got my process, I've got my plan, I've got my stop, I've got my target. I'm entering the trade. If it don't work out, it don't work out. It's not the end of the world, right? I'm not going to go bankrupt because I got stopped out of a trade, right? I'm not going to lose everything if I get stopped out of a trade and I follow the plan. But I will lose everything if I don't follow the plan, right? If I don't follow the plan, well, then there's a possible chance that I might, you know, lose a lot. There's a chance that I might blow up my account. I might go on tilt emotionally and mentally because, well, I'm allowing myself to go on tilt. So let's follow the plan. Let's get stopped out and let's make losing okay again. It is okay to have a losing trade. It is okay to get stopped out. It is okay to follow your plan. If you do that consistently over and over and over and over, you do it consistently. Well, guess what? You never know. You might actually make some money. There it is. If you guys haven't already liked the button, like this video, hit that like button, leave a comment down below. What else should I talk about? We got the mentorship going on right now, live on YouTube every morning at 9 a.m. If you guys have not tuned in, well, Make sure you do. I'll see y'all out there. Peace and stay green, my friends. Stay green.